Let me screen share the. Oh, where was that now? Oh, I won't screen share anymore. All right. They're starting to come in. Just wait for a few more.
Keeping that basket behind you, huh?
It's a good background. That's a good background.
Above the rim.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. So YouTube seems to be working pretty well. And we got. There you go. All right. 6 o'clock. Seems to have a good size attendees. Good evening to everyone. Hope you're watching us safe from the comforts of your home. Again, we'd like to welcome you to day 2 of our webinar brought to you by Hoop Coaches International in cooperation with Blackwater Elite. Again, tonight we'll be joined by 2 of my best buddies. One is from all the way from Malaysia, our commentator, analyst Ben Ibrahim, all the way from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and Teddy Villasor, sports psychologist, who handles most of my team building sessions. He also handles private sessions in times of these in times of COVID time. So if you wanna reach out to him, you can reach out to him also. Ben, can you take the floor and introduce us to our guest speaker for tonight?
That's right. Thanks very much, Coach Ariel. Good evening, everyone, or Xin Chao. Xin Chao meaning hello in Vietnamese, apa khabar in Malay and Indonesian, or bonjour to anybody from around the world who speaks French. Welcome to our session today, and thank you to Hoop Coaches International by Blackwater for putting this really, really good session together. And like Coach Ariel said, we are in for some very, very good learning. And today we are very fortunate to have the time of Coach Mike Taylor. And for those of you who don't know who Coach Mike Taylor is, well, he's like all of us, he loves basketball. Like all of us, he's a long life learner of the game and life. He's actually the current coach of the Poland national team, and he's done a very good job there, taking them from about 50th in the world to about 13th at the moment. He's coaching in the Bundesliga in Germany with the Hamburg team, and he's also done some great work with other German basketball clubs in Germany. He studied at Indiana University of Pennsylvania, health and physical education degree undergraduate, and then did a master's of communication. He was brought up with basketball as his father was a basketball coach. And he's also really, really, he's one thing good about Coach Mike Taylor, very positive guy, and hence the topic. And he's also a very much a defensive coach, and he's very much, he's had very good experience with the G League, and he's got a good relationship with Doc Rivers and other coaches, just to name a few. So Coach Mike Taylor, without further ado, please take us through, like you're talking to us at a Starbucks coffee shop conversation about building a positive culture in a basketball team as a coach. Over to you, Coach Mike.
Well, Ben, I appreciate the introduction. I'm really thankful to Ariel and Teddy and everyone involved, Blackwater, for the opportunity to share some basketball and talk some basketball. I got a chance to see a little of Will Voigt's presentation. Will's a very good friend of mine, and the next coach is following, Ryan Pannone. He'll do a great job with the 3-out, 2-in pick and roll, and then Aaron Fern with the flow and transition. These are great guys and great coaches that I'm sure that the coaches there will love to hear from. So I'm really thankful to get on here and talk basketball, especially the topic of, building a team, because it's a challenge that we go through every year with every team that we try to build. And I want to kind of offer some of the things that have worked for me, worked for us, both with Poland, with the national team setting, and also in a club setting with Hamburg. So, 2018, 2019 was a great year for us. Getting to the World Cup, we'll see that's the second time it happened in Poland history, and then obviously having a great run there. But also the team was built the same way with the same principles in Hamburg, and we won the second division of Germany and moved up into the Bundesliga for this season. So the kind of the secrets to the success there for me were some of the coaching points and points of emphasis that we'll talk about today. So I hope that sharing these things can kind of be, get people thinking and get people generating some ideas about, hey, how am I doing things? Maybe this is an interesting example that could be a blueprint for coaches. So I'm really thankful to get on here and share some of these ideas.
Well,
Right.
we appreciate it, Coach, and we know, as they say, pictures paint 1,000 words. So I'm sure you have some really good slides for us to take us through this wonderful topic.
Well, thank you, Ben. Yes, let me take a moment to share the screen here. Put together a little PowerPoint presentation for everyone, and as we've talked before, as there will be questions. Please feel free to generate discussion, ask a question. I'm not sure whether it's Ariel, Ben, who will moderate, but I know Teddy will have some questions and things, but I hope this can really be an open conversation. I mean, some slides will be shorter than others, but I hope there can be some ones that really provoke some good thought here. So as we begin, we talk about building a team culture through positive coaching. As we said, this is a situation where we have both the Hamburg Towers as a club team and the national team setting. So I think both of these are possible. This scenario works and is proven success in both settings. And what we tried to do with Poland, with the national team, obviously there's natural motivation to achieve something, playing for your country. And that's I don't want to say easy motivation, but it's understood. It's something special and it's an honor, and everyone involved takes it that way. But what we really emphasized with our guys, we wanted them to do something special together in their national team careers for the game of basketball in Poland. So I was so thankful and happy when we were able to punch our ticket to China for the World Cup. It was the second World Cup in Poland's history. And for our guys, it would meant they're remembered in the country for doing something great in the game. So this was kind of the one of the main themes that we talked about, during the qualification process, which was not easy for us, but to do something special together. And as we said before, we started, close to 50th in the world, 44th when I took over the job in 2014. And, we had the most recent top 8 finish in China, special run for the guys. We've been to 2 Eurobasket, the European Championships. We had more success in 2015, getting to the top 16. And again, we've won our qualification groups and 60% of our official FIBA games since 2014. So, we've started to establish a winning tradition, a winning culture with Poland. And a lot of that had to do with many of these points of emphasis, the positive coaching. Along the same lines, last year with the Hamburg Towers, it's a young German team. They've been involved maybe I think it's the 6th year this year. So last year was the 5th year. They had 4 years of history. It started as kind of a social club in the city of Hamburg and was doing great things for kids and helping people, but they were kind of missing basketball results. I joined the team 2018, 2019, and, we won the second league and moved up into the first league. So again, if you're playing for the Towers or playing for Poland, you're going to hear a lot of the things, the coaching points and points of emphasis that we'll share with you guys today. So, as we start, in general, what we try to emphasize with our team and our players, to be the best version of yourself, to be the best team, and to be the best when it matters the most. So what we try to emphasize with the players and coaches and everyone is, we all want to be at our best and be the best version of ourselves every day. And obviously we don't do that. There's some situations we don't handle as well as we could. There's some situations we try our best but don't really do as well as we would like. But the point is, you're trying to be the best version of yourself, to handle situations, make the right decisions, prepare yourself, and do all the things individually that you can do to be at your best. And if you're not, you're reflective enough to say, hey, next time I want to do this differently. I want to change and be better. So this is kind of where it starts individually. And then if everyone is trying to be the best team, I'm trying to make my teammates better, I'm trying to help my team. If I can do these things as an individual and as a team, then we have a chance that when there is a pressure moment, when there is a big game, we all can be the best when it matters the most. And, you know, there's these certain clutch athletes, you know, this documentary with Michael Jordan, The Last Dance. What was so special about Michael Jordan that he would continually, when the pressure was on in these win or lose moments, he seemed like he always came through. What was that special character trait or special ability that separated him? The way we try to say it to our guys is, and we try to communicate it is, be the best version of yourself, number one, be the best team, and then in those pressure moments, those decisive moments, be the best when it matters the most. And I think when you have experience on those stages, in those meaningful moments, you know, the crucial moments, the clutch moments, I think then you get a comfort level and then, you know, you perform. So this is kind of what, I'm sorry, Ben, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
From my standpoint, this is kind of where it all starts for us. You know, you have the individual, you have the team, and then you have in that competitive competition clutch moment, trying to be the best when it matters the most. As we move forward, something else we talk about in terms of setting the right mindset for the team, pressure comes when you're not prepared. When you're prepared, you have opportunity. And I want people to think about this. You know, let's say you have a test in school and you have not studied. Well, you know you're feeling stressed and you know you're not ready, and that's where you start to feel that pressure and stress. But if you've studied, right, you can kind of relax and say, hey, I've done my best. All I have to do, I am prepared. I have to now perform. So this is the competitive mindset we try to talk with our players is, look, focus on your preparation, focus on the process of getting yourself ready, and then the challenge, the competition is an opportunity, and we want to seize that opportunity. We want to take advantage of that opportunity. So again, you're trying to work on the mindset, the mentality of the players about the value of your preparation and relaxing in that competitive environment. Another point of emphasis that sets the table for our guys is play positive. Both Hamburg Towers and Poland national team, again, playing positive. This is short-term, short words for we all have a certain amount of energy, and we want to use that energy in a positive way. So we want to impact the game in a positive way. We want to impact our teammates in a positive way. We don't want to waste our valuable and precious energy on anything negative. Now that could be acting out, yelling at a referee, yelling at a teammate. You know, we want to try to have emotional discipline, control our energy and direct it focused on winning the game, doing everything we can to compete and win the game. As a coach, how many times do you, after the game, think about what happened and you're like, man, I wasted too much energy. I was too focused yelling at the referees. I wasted my time. I need to be focused and coach my team. You know, I think that this type of self-reflective point, you can understand, all right, I have a certain amount of energy and I want to focus it and use it in the right direction. So playing positive is not necessarily, hey, I'm going to go out there and you see these guys with a smile on their face. Yeah, they're having fun and playing positive, but it's using your energy that you have, your resources in a positive way to win the game, not wasting any time on the negative. The next thing we try to really emphasize with the guys is team toughness. And team toughness is that physical factor, that give up your body for your teammate factor, that competitive toughness, that when the other team has an advantage, you're emotionally tough and you're not going to back down. You're going to compete. You're always going to give yourself a chance to win. So I think this team toughness is another aspect that is you know, you can help your players develop it and comes with experience. You know, we'll talk about breaking through a little bit later in the presentation, but it has to do with learning that team toughness, how to compete. And again, when you've been in that situation before, I think that team toughness can give you an advantage. So, you know, if there's any questions, thoughts, some of these things we'll go into more detail as we go. But in terms of coaching style, those would be earlier. These first few slides would be some of the things that we do and emphasize with our team to kind of create the competitive environment, the mentality, the mindset. But now we turn the page to relationship-based coaching. So as a coach, for me, I am a very positive coach, and it's based on the relationship-based coaching philosophy. And ideally, what we try to do is develop a positive relationship with every player on the team, and maintain and grow that relationship through the experience, the lifetime of the season. So we all know that a player-coach relationship goes through ups, through downs. Obviously, you want to try to build that trust with the player. You want to try to show the players that you care. And it goes step by step throughout the season, throughout the success, the setbacks, the adversity, whatever happens. But the main point from a relationship-based coaching standpoint, I think the goal is develop a positive relationship and grow that relationship throughout the season. And we all know some players are going to click with your coaching style. Some players are going to get you right away. And sometimes there's going to be players that just aren't, it's not going to happen. But this is the challenge of coaching. And again, building the relationship, you really get to know the personalities, the player, who they are as people, and this becomes a priority, at least for my coaching style. I want to try to maximize the relationship with each player. And of course, some are better than others, some are easier than others, but this is the challenge for me of coaching and working with a team. So this relationship-based coaching is it's like the backbone of it all. All right, now we establish the relationship-based coaching as the backbone. The second part is the teammate connection. And this is also just as critical as building the relationships with the head coach, right? So we have the players, and you can have a really good team and really good relationships, player to coach, but you can also have a team that is not connected in terms of team and together connected with each other. So the first point in relationship-based coaching is the player-coach relationship. And the second point becomes, how are the players connected together? So these are the things that I am constantly aware of and constantly reading in terms of where are we at in terms of my individual relationship with players. Do I need to spend more time with this guy? Are we stuck in some place here? Are we positive? Where are we at in terms of player-coach relationship? And then where are we at in terms of the team? Are there things that we can do together off the court that will benefit us on the court? Are there things that we need to concentrate in practice on the court to try to connect these guys together? And again, the details will come out as we talk later in this presentation. Synergy, teamwork, different topics that you can see they fit in to the teammate connection. Now, we see here the blue box around the players and the coach. Minimum standards. As a coach, before I came to Hamburg, I was really all about be the best version of yourself, be the best team, and be the best when it matters the most. This is all aiming for maximum situation, maximizing the potential. Be the best. But I think it's important that coaches also, and over the last 2 years, this is something I've worked really hard to try to add into the coaching style here, the minimum standard. There's some players who struggle to even get to that level to be their very best and maximize their situation. For these guys, you must help them understand what is the minimum that I can do to help the team. Now, the other way this impacts things, we're shooting for the best. We want to maximize our team. We want to maximize our potential. But you've also may have some problems with relationship, may have some problems player to player. The minimum standards helps give everybody the ground rule, the foundation, like, okay, I cannot cross this line, right? If I get outside this box, our team's going to go in a different direction. Or they're outside the box because they're not buying in, then the team has to make a decision, okay, this guy's not buying into our minimum standards. We need to make a move and get this guy out of here, for example. So with your player relationship-based coaching, the player-head coach relationship, player-to-player relationship, the minimum standards are important, even when you're a team that's based on, hey, like everyone, we want to be our best. We want to maximize our potential. We want to do the very best we can in that situation. It's really important to be able to at least help the players clarify the minimum standards. We have a little bit of this later on in the presentation. Now, the next part, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Coach, how much time do you spend with your players? Is it the same amount, or you spend more time with a certain player?
Well, I think that obviously you're reading the relationships and you're reading the team about what you have. You know, you may try to pair up players that are having problems, try to pair them up and work it out. Maybe you have a sit-down conversation with them. I think that even when things are good, player coach, you want to try to have individual time just to make sure it's like you're maintaining everything. I think one of the great ways, and we'll see this later in the presentation, is the player development. You know, if you spend time and sweat with the players and work with the guys, they know you care about them. So whether that's spending time watching video, whether it's spending time on the court, going through some workouts, I think you and the staff have to always kind of give these guys love. Give them the love that they know, they feel appreciated, and they know you care about them and you believe in them. So to answer your question, Teddy, I would say, you know, you have to be able to have a feeling for it and read it, but it's not only when things are not going well, right? It should be pretty consistent that you've got, hey, I'm spending time with this guy. And it also, too, it's not only with people you like, right? Like, I get along with this player. I like this player. I'm going to spend time with him. I'm not spending time with that guy. No, as a coach, we should be open to everyone on our roster and show everyone on our roster, you're important to this team. You're important to me. So I think this is, again, a key point. You know, how much time you spend, you want to try to spread it out as much as you can, show guys you care, and not only when it's bad, but try to maintain it throughout all the different situations.
Thanks, Coach.
So as we move on, you know, what's not worked into that scenario are the staff. And I think your coaching staff is critical towards building your culture and building your team. And especially here in relationship-based coaching, right? As a head coach, you want to show that you have trust and belief in your staff and you're delegating responsibility, important responsibility. So again, whether your assistant coaches are spending time with certain players, watching video, working them out, conversation, again, you know, you have to have it kind of everything orchestrated to really maintain all of these relationships. So your assistant coaches factor into this whole player-coach relationship. Obviously, there's the main point of the head coach-player-coach relationship, but your assistants, everyone's got to be on the same page, and these guys can just broaden it out and make it a very powerful coaching staff impact on the team. We've been fortunate in Poland to have a great coaching staff through the years. We've had very, very few coaching changes. You know, and these guys, absolutely, I have great trust in them and belief in them. And I really am proud of the things that they've accomplished and the things that they've, you know, the way they've grown through the years. Same thing in Hamburg. You know, I've got 2 assistant coaches and a conditioning coach. We'll talk about the conditioning coaches a little bit later. But, you know, these guys, you know, I really enjoy going to practice every single day, spending time with our coaches, and really enjoying the process. So these things are really important. And the coaching staff, the assistant coaches, the conditioning coaches, these are really, really critical positions and have a big impact on your team's culture and how positive it can be. So we see some of the background, the points of emphasis from coaching, trying to build the mentality, and you see, okay, Mike Taylor is a relationship-based coach. Now we start to talk about, okay, how do we apply the positive coaching style into the team? And I think, you know, the first thing for me, it can be summed up in fun with discipline, right? We'll see that in the next slide. I think people will tell you, hey, Mike Taylor is a very positive person. He's a very positive coach. So this, again, feeds through the team. And then I think the next point is being patient. And we'll see a slide with patient and positive coaching. And then as we saw, creating a players first environment where we are trying to create a great situation for players where they feel comfortable, they feel good, they know people believe in them, and they feel empowered. So fun with discipline is the root of it. And basically, we want to try to create a positive team first environment. And this is, again, important for the relationship-based point for the coach to read the team. On the one side, we have discipline, right? And discipline is not a bad thing. Discipline is a good thing for people. Discipline, in this case, is not negative, but it just is a point of, you know, if the players are too process oriented and not enjoying themselves, right? You know, it can be negative in some circumstances, but I don't look at discipline as a negative point. Fun. I want players to have fun coming to the gym. I want players to have fun together. I want guys to enjoy, you know, the whole process. You know, I love coaching basketball. I love the process of it, like many coaches here listening today. And I want to enjoy it with the coaches, with the people that, you know, that we go through. And, you know, the point for us is, as a coach, when you're in charge and you're in a leadership position, you want to find that balance between the players having fun and being at their best because they're enjoying themselves, or going over the line and having too much fun. So if you can see, there's a white box here on the continuum, and this white box is where we want to be. That's the target zone. If there's too much fun, the coach cracks the whip and adds a little discipline, right? Guys aren't focused enough. Hey, let's go. Let's sharpen up. Let's focus. You know, if there's too much pressure on a team, then the coach tries to add fun. And I think the main point here is you've got to be aware of reverse psychology. If a team loses a big game and you're really mad at the way the team played, there are times where you're going to come at them with external motivation and things like this. But there's also times where mentally they need a pick-me-up. You need to boost them. You know, the same thing. You win a big game, the guys are feeling good about themselves. They lose their focus because they're, you know, satisfied. Boom. That's where you crack the whip a little bit and make sure the team is focused. So this, I think, is a skill that coaches need to be aware of. And in this coaching style, relationship-based, you're always building that relationship, maintaining that relationship. You're reading the team. Where are these individual players at? Where is the team at? And how do I need to respond in the daily, let's say, practice session or routine?
Coach Mike, could you give us some examples of a pick-me-up or a fun activity that you use with your teams?
Yeah, I think that, you know, a team has a really devastating and disappointing loss. You know, and maybe it was a game that really came down to a make or miss situation in one possession, right? I think in these circumstances, you know, you have to kind of focus on the good things the team did, because people are always focusing on the negative. So you lose this game, maybe it was a buzzer beater from the opponent, and in the next day's video, as a coach, you can choose what you want to show the team. Are you going to show the team all the mistakes, or are you going to show the team all the good things? And I think everybody knows what happened. Everybody knows, hey, you know, we didn't do this very well. We didn't do that very well. It came down to the last play. Well, you were that close to winning as well. And I think you have to try in that case to really maybe show the guys what they did well as compared to, you know, some of the negatives or the mistakes or the problems. Obviously, you're going to address that. But, you know, maybe you do it on the practice court and you show the guys the positive things so that they start seeing things from a different perspective. The next point, you lose the game, you're really mad at the team, and, you know, your first instinct is, these guys, I'm going to get them. They're going to work. They're going to run. We're going to do defense. You know, but I think this is making it personal in some instances. So you've got to be patient, and maybe your first instinct, your first response is, I'm going to really hammer these guys in practice the next day. But after you think about it a second time, you say to yourself, okay, we're going to have a little bit of a lighter practice, right? We're going to, you know, do something different, because it's important for us to make sure we have our energy and we're focused and positive for the next game. So again, I think understanding where the team is at, and understanding how they will respond to, certain situations and certain things, right? So what we've used is highlights, trying to show the team highlights and good plays rather than some of their mistakes or problems. And then I think the intensity level and practice plan, I think this is another example of reading the team and staying, let's say, oh, we're going to keep it positive now. I'm not going to blast these guys, and we're going to trust they're going to really respond, right? Now, if the team is not together, if there's a chemistry problem in the team, then I think that's a totally different circumstance, right? Because you're trusting in all of these situations, this team is together and they're disappointed they lost, but they're going to respond together, right? So again, this goes back to the connection among players, the player-coach relationship, and everybody buying in, staying within the minimum standards, right? If there's guys that are outside or problems between the players, then I think you have to approach it in a little different way, because in that case, it may not be a guarantee that if you treat the guys in a good, positive way, that they respond, right? They may be blocked because they're mad at each other or they're upset about something. So again, we're talking about, reading the team that is really together. We'll talk about later the problem players and things like that. Okay.
Coach, I have a question.
Yes,
before you
go
go
ahead.
to your next slide. What if the team has low energy coming into a practice, or from travel or from a heavy game, and then the next day for practice they have low energy? How would you handle a situation like that?
Again, I think that I rely on our conditioning coaches a lot. Dominic Nerojchuk with Poland, Melvin Vierdu in Hamburg, and these guys are really good at again reading the team physically. Where are they at? Do these guys need rest? So I think you have to be aware of the intensity level of your practice and the upcoming schedule, and be aware. The most important thing is how you perform in games. And there's many different ways that you can run practice, to accomplish your goals and cover the important things. You can do things in a walkthrough. You can do things in drill work, or you can do things in a scrimmage situation. What the intensity level or duration, that's what a coach controls. So I think this decision-making in your practice planning is critical. Now, again, are they fatigued just because of the schedule? We've had a tough road trip. We got home late. We got a short turnaround. There's short prep time. Is it just a natural physical thing, or are there, team issues wearing at the team, right? And I think you want to try to bring those things out, and you want to try to, iron it out. But again, in the beginning of the season, you're setting your philosophy, you're emphasizing the things you want to emphasize. For me, it's obviously the positivity, it's be the best version of yourself. So I think once you communicate that, then you try to challenge the guys on a daily basis. Hey, is it one player bringing the team down, or is it a handful of guys? If it's one guy, you pull them aside and have a conversation. Hey, let's go. Be the best version of yourself out here. Let's go. How are you impacting your teammates, right? So I think depending on where the problem's coming from, I think that's where you as a coach kind of read, okay, why are these guys a little flat out here today? And then you have to also have an understanding, we're not playing, right? We're traveling. We're with the team all the time. You're reading it, but the physical factor, that's why I really trust the conditioning coaches that we have. And if they say, hey, coach, these guys need one, we need to go a little bit easy on them, you kind of take that break. So I hope that answers your question, because we've all been there, right? You come back from a game and the team's flat in practice, right?
Coach,
Thanks, Coach.
Yes.
Can you hear me? Just as a lead on to Teddy's question, and this is a question from one of our attendees. His name is Marcus. I think it's Marcus Rowenstruck. He's been asking, and this is a very good question that Marcus has asked, is that how far, one thing that we say a lot is some players are hard work mentally. They're just divas. They think they're better than the rest, and so forth and so forth. So in your personal opinion, how far would you go with one certain player? Obviously, he may be very talented. He may be a role player, but how far would, in terms of investment of energy, would you go with one player before, look, just saying enough is enough. I'm just going to focus my attention on the team. When do you sort of?
We'll talk about the four types of players later in the presentation. Okay. But really, this is coaching. How does one player impact the rest of the team? Obviously, and again, we'll see a chart later in the talk about the four different types of players. We need talent. Talent is critical to your team's success, but winning is about attitude and team. So the question that you have to constantly face is this player with the talent helping our team? And again, the more talent, the more likelihood the player's going to be given chance after chance after chance. That's just the reality of it, right? But at some point, if it becomes too much, then you have to be able to make that decision. And that if the player is outside your minimum standards and you're giving him every opportunity and every chance to come back within it, I think you have to put the team first in that case and really keep the team first. And I want to say in Poland, we were 3-3 at the midpoint of your World Cup qualifications. And the real reason for me that we really clicked and won 5 straight games and went on this great run in China is because of players. The team maybe wasn't as talented, but they were really together and had guys that put their heart into it and put the team first. Basketball is a team game. You do need talent, but talent cannot hold your team hostage, right? If it's not going to be within the minimum standards, within the discipline, within the framework of what you're trying to get done. So again, a talented player you're going to spend a lot of time with. You're going to try your very best. Hey, do the things we want you to do. Be a team player. Put the team first. This is the reward for you. This is what's good for you. But if they're physically or mentally or emotionally unable to do that or unwilling to do that, then I always like to say, hey, basketball is a team game and teams win. And I think that's just a decision a coach has to know after how much effort and time they put into trying to make it work.
Cool. Thanks. Good answer.
Marcus is from Germany too, so yeah. Hi, Marcus. Patient and positive coaching. Again, we talk about the positive side of it, but patience is really important in a player-coach relationship because you're not in control. You don't control how a player reacts. He may not be willing to go as far as you want or be as open as you want at certain times. So again, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. You've got to be patient. You've got to support people through good and bad experiences. This is growth. This is development. This is a coach showing players that he cares. But again, what you've got to do is show a consistent direction. This is how I believe you're going to get better. This is how I think you can help the team, and keep that patience and support not wavering. Positive coaching, again, positive communication. What and why. I'm coaching what and why. I respect all the players and coaches. People can see it by the way I talk to people, by the way I behave, and the way I model it with my nonverbal communication. I allow for input for players, from coaches, and I'm listening to people. Listening is one of the fastest ways to respect people and be positive. Providing productive feedback to people. Again, being a truth teller, not just telling them what they want to hear, not just telling them something to make them feel good, but telling them something in a positive way that really gives them something, a direction to improve. And then again, positive coaching, you're avoiding controlling behaviors, right? Again, any type of controlling behavior in a personal relationship, I think people would be put off a little bit by. So as a coach, it's natural. We want to try to control a lot of situations. But I think as coaches, when you try to stay positive and believe in people, you show trust, you show confidence, you show belief if you're giving people their space. So we get into more positive coaching. Patience, coaching is teaching. Coach the what and the why. Creating self-confidence and belief. And this is something that is really big for me. The positive self-fulfilling prophecy versus the negative vicious circle. In your player-coach relationship, you want to find ways to build the players up with confidence. confidence comes from success. So you prepare for it, you expect it, then the players do it, it reinforces it. You try as a coach to put players in position to be successful. And again, when a player knows that a coach believes in him, he says, hey, this coach believes in me. I must be worth it. And then they go out on the court and play with confidence. And then when they play with confidence, you see them have success. And that reinforces the original belief that the coach, I believe in you, and not only by telling them, but by modeling it to them and showing them and demonstrating them. The same thing can happen the other way when we've seen it a lot. It happens, unfortunately, it happens all the time. A coach in a player-coach relationship does not communicate positively with a player. He does not model that confidence. And the player starts to think like, this coach doesn't like me. This coach is not helping me. He's not putting me in a position to be successful. I'm not, well, maybe I'm not worth it. And then he goes on to the court lacking that confidence. Without the confidence, he doesn't play as well. And then it reinforces the original belief from the coach, like, oh, I'm not good enough, or So we as coaches in the player-coach relationship have a tremendous amount of potential to influence things in one way or the other. And I think as a coach, we need to be aware of this and really work as hard as we can to be consistent, building players up with realistic confidence and trying to create that positive self-fulfilling prophecy. If it happens, this player's playing well. If it happens again, these guys are playing well. And I think that's what pushes the team to the next level.
Coach Mike, just for clarification, a self-fulfilling prophecy, you believe it, therefore it happens.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So I create the feeling in the player, or coaches create the feeling in the player that they are good, that they can do it. And the player then feels that support from the coach, feels that belief, and believes it in himself. I can be a really good player. I can help us win the game. I can, execute my job and my role and play my role for this team to get it done. I can stop this offensive opponent. I can, again, all of these things you are trying as a coach to build up the self-confidence and belief in the player. And again, it takes time. And this, again, is supporting players through good and bad experiences, right? And it's easy as a coach. Yeah, I believe in you. The player goes out there, fails, and then the coach quits on him, right? No, you're really trying to get that genuine belief and show genuine support. And for the long run, really get that trust with the player, right? So the positive self-fulfilling prophecy versus the negative vicious circle is, again, relationship-based coaching. I think a really important part of player-coach relationships and getting the best out of your players, right? So a big part of this is communication. And again, communication can be positive and negative, right? And as coaches, as you see here, we are who we are. We do what we know. We coach the way we've been coached, right? So some coaches in the past have been, really negative, right? The coach against the players. And I have here Bob Knight. My dad was an assistant for him at West Point. So my family is big Coach Knight fans from history. But again, his coaching style, again, on that fun with discipline, was way more on the discipline side because he never wanted to let people relax or get comfortable. He wanted to fight that human nature, right? So we saw a lot of negative coaching from him, yelling, criticism, these type things. My point from positive coaching is support the players, put the players in positions to be successful, build a relationship with players, and share the experiences together. And a lot of that has to do with the really good communication, right? Again, you're telling players good things, positive things, helping them feel good, build them up, but you're also telling them the truth, right? You can't just tell them something that's not realistic. You've got to give them positive feedback, and help them really hear what they need to hear. So we say, be a truth teller, but do it in a positive way. The problem with the negative communication, especially with today's players, yelling and criticism. Again, we say all the time, you see here, coaching versus criticism, right? How many times do you go into practice and you got a plan, like we need to handle this situation better. Here's the points that I'm going to emphasize, A, B, C, right? And I'm going to coach this player and say, I need you to do this. I need you to beat the screen like this. I need you to do this. The younger players and some players, that happened with us with Towers this year, prospects that need to develop, some guys will take the coaching as criticism, build the wall, and shut it down. So if you're constantly yelling and constantly going at people, eventually you lose them. And again, this is where the relationship side comes in, to have the patience to not overreact and communicate with emotion. Take the emotion out of your communication the majority of the time. There's obviously times where people need to hear the negative side. You need to have the full spectrum of communication, positive, right, and negative. But you only have so many bullets in your gun. So you need to save them, and this is where the patience and positive communication comes in. Again, we see the honest and direct here. This point becomes, you're not just telling somebody something to say it. You want to give them honest, direct, positive feedback, but again, be a truth teller. The verbal and nonverbal communication, again, 10% of communication is verbal, 90% is nonverbal. And, people have to know you believe in them, not only by what you say to them, by how you treat them, how you act, your behavior. So you've got to be aware as a coach, both your verbal and nonverbal communication. Really, really important. I think, for coaches, it's important, just be who you are, right? You have to know yourself and what your game is, know yourself as a person, and know yourself as a coach. And what I try to do is be as consistent as I possibly can. I want players to know that, hey, I am who I am. This is genuine. This is natural. This is me. And you will get the full range of this full spectrum, the full range, communication, emotion, everything. It's genuine, it's real. So I think this is important for coaches as they start to think about their coaching style, their philosophy, that it allows them to be who they are. The relationship-based points again here for positive coaching, it takes maturity. Players have to be mature to understand the fun with discipline, right? The fun with discipline. You're able to have fun, but are you also able to lock in and focus and be locked in to the task at hand, be on task? Again, building trust, players, getting them to allow you to coach them because you show up every single day with quality information. You show up every single day showing you care about them. These are some of the key points in terms of the positive coaching thing. And it all comes down to understanding and managing people, right? These are really, really the heart of the positive coaching. Any questions or comments on these things before we move to the next slide?
Coach, I think we have some questions,
Okay.
Question and answer. Maybe we'll field in a couple. This is from Phil. Coach Mike, do you let go of a player's physical mistakes? How do you handle them?
Well, I'm not a guy that subs players out because of mistakes, right? Again, I look at it like when you're dealing with a player, basketball is a continuous game. And, as you give players playing time and roles, maybe you give a player, let's say he's on the court for 8 minutes. If the player is prepared and focused and ready, he has his best intentions at heart for the team. He's trying to be his best version of himself. He's still going to make mistakes. The problem becomes if they are mental errors and game plan mistakes. So you can miss a shot, you can turn the ball over, you can make a bad decision. I'm not a guy that subs guys out because of one mistake, right? I think, I look at it like if a guy plays 8 minutes and let's say he makes 20 plays on both ends of the court. If he's making a high percentage of really good plays, he may make 3 mistakes. Let's say he makes 17 good plays and he's having a really good game. So I try to look at it as the entire, time that a guy's out on the court, and you give guys a chance to play through simple mistakes that come from the game. The mistakes that I have a problem with as a coach are the game plan, tactics, mental error mistakes. For example, we have a certain pick and roll coverage called in this time, and a player does not execute it, right? So in these situations, I have a much shorter leash, and it's more like the three strike in baseball mentality. if you mess one thing up, we'll communicate it, but we'll stay positive. If you mess up the same thing or make a different mistake that's also game plan related, I'm going to, talk about it a little sterner. But again, it's all in a productive, constructive way to help the team. You're obviously hurting the team by not being mentally ready and not being prepared to execute a game plan situation. And then on that third one, boom. So I think you give players opportunities to play through their mistakes. You give players opportunities to correct it. And, I think that's a pretty fair way to handle situations from a coaching standpoint, right? A lot of guys may just yank a guy after one mistake, right? But I think, you have to give guys an opportunity to play, and you can't expect players to go out there and be perfect, because if you pull guys out for every mistake, then they're not going to be able to play with confidence at all.
Bahati, what's your question?
Okay. I'm Coach Bahati from Tanzania. And my question is, how do you control when the situation, maybe you're playing against a team and your players found out like that team is weak, everything they do, and they start having fun during the game, it ends up to them losing focus on the task ahead. How do you control that?
Bahati, that was, I'm sure, a good question. I couldn't really, it wasn't very clear. Could one of the people help us, Teddy or Ariel or Ben?
Can you repeat that, Bahati?
Okay.
Louder.
My question is, how do you control the situation in terms of the discipline and fun? Where, let's say you are in a game and your players starting having fun just because the opponents are a bit weak in terms of handling them. So they end up losing focus in that game situation. And that's the question. How do you handle that situation, bringing back your players to having fun, but you just try to discipline them?
Mahati, that's a very good question.
Okay.
Sorry that I could not hear it in the beginning, but so this is natural, right? Your team plays really well, goes on a big run and has a lead, and everybody starts feeling good about themselves and they get comfortable and they relax. But it's the first quarter or the second quarter, you're up by 20 and you as a coach know, man, we got a long game to go, right? So I think this is maturity. This is experience and understanding that, you want to have that discipline, emotional discipline to play and win the game. We'll see this later. Win the game one play at a time. Win the next play. We're not looking at the scoreboard. We're just trying to compete and play. And it's natural. How many times have we seen a team get a big lead, they relax, the other team starts to fight back, they cut the lead, the momentum changes, and then it's a really hard thing to get that momentum back. So I think, this is something about the mentality of competing and winning the game one play at a time, winning the next play, understanding that it is, let's say, a 40-minute game, and we have got to compete all the way through. We cannot relax. We cannot get satisfied. And I think this is, again, the fun with discipline point. Hey, the mentality you'll see later, next play mentality, win the next play. We're not concerned about the scoreboard, whether we're down 10 or up 10. We want to try to be a consistent team, as consistent as we can be in our performance and in our mentality.
Thank you for the question.
Okay, thank you. I think it's a clear answer.
Thank you.
Thank
So there's
you.
more questions. Teddy, can you go through some of them?
Yes, Coach. This is from Jan. How many hours per day do you spend during practice? What is an ideal time frame for practice, Coach Mike?
Okay, a little different topic, but quickly, we will obviously with the national team. It depends on if it's a traditional summer structure where you have the training camps and the in season. Let's say you go week to week with your preparation games and then you into your event, or if it's the recent in-season windows. Obviously, the preparation time is a big factor there. With the club team here in Hamburg, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we will go twice a day, morning being conditioning and skill work, evening being team practice. And then because, we're a team that just plays in the Bundesliga, it's one practice a day on Thursday and one practice a day on Friday. Our scouting report and game plan things will take place on Wednesday, and we'll try to build it up and kind of just give the guys a little bit rest with just the one practice a day. Generally, we work 2 hours, and again, that can be a little bit more time in the gym because we'll start with, maybe some video or some walkthrough, so it just depends on the situation, how much preparation time you have, and things. But what you want to try to do, and we'll talk about this later, is the environmental comfort. You want to create a routine for players. You want to try to create a situation where guys know what's coming, and they feel like, hey, I'm getting better. So that would be, basically, I would answer your question. Practice time depends on, your schedule, depends on your competition, and it depends on, it's mostly a 2-hour situation.
Okay.
Thanks,
I
Coach.
think we can go on with the presentation first, and then we filled in the questions again.
No problem.
Thank you.
Yeah. So again, as we talked before, I'm a very positive coach. I try to really have a positive coaching style, but we see the power of negativity, again, where we try to control the focus of the team and the performance of the team from the positive side. Coach Knight tried to do it from the negative discipline side. And again, the point here is there's not one answer to how to be successful. There's many different ways to do things. There's many different ways to be successful. The big thing is find out what works for you, who you are, what you believe in, and try to create a situation that works for you. Again, I have so much respect for Coach Knight. He was really good to me. I've worked basketball camp for him, been to his coaching clinics. Just, again, great respect from our family for him. And just the point that there's a different way to do it and a different way to be great, right? So we're positive, and that doesn't mean that that's the only way that things have to be done. Again, we talk about relationships. Big part of relationship-based coaching, spending time, enjoying people. As you go through the different things in terms of results, a season, wins, losses, we all want to coach the championship team. But many times our team is not ready to win a championship or able to win a championship. So if we're in coaching for the right reasons, you love the process of coaching. And, again, we don't remember how many points we scored in the big game. We don't remember, a lot of times the results of the big game. What was the final score? I don't know. What we remember are the people that we went through the process with. And when you have a relationship-based coaching situation, you have great connections that last for a lifetime. They last well beyond the season, and this is one of the things that I absolutely love about coaching, the relationships aspect. And again, it all comes down to enjoying the process. We want players, we want coaches, we want people to enjoy the process together. We're all focused on results. We all want results. Results are very, very important to coaching and to success in basketball. But I believe the way you get to those results is by really working the process, enjoying the process, and again, creating that positive team environment. So these are things that we really try to focus on. Again, a great way to build the relationships are through player development. Again, you're on the court with a player, you're sweating with a player, you're giving a player advice, helping him or her. And I think that these situations are really, really the heart of relationship-based coaching. So, building it in to your practice plan, building it into training camp, building it into your weekly program, building it into what you're doing, keeping that player development all season is not just about developing a player's skill and keeping them sharp, but it's also a great, avenue to reach players and build that relationship and connection. Next one. So again, we move on to creating that team identity. And what I try to focus on is a buy-in from the players, coaches, everybody involved, getting everybody to really buy in to what we're doing. And I think the big things, the 3 words we talk about are trust, team first, and together. everyone's got to trust what we're doing. We all have to be able to sacrifice and put the team first, and we got to really try to win together. Now, what you'll see over the next few slides, a personal commitment, core beliefs, standards of excellence, and things that we talk about in terms of creating a basketball culture. And our, again, you'll see some of the comments and quotes that we talk about, with guys. Hard work beats talent when talent fails to work hard. And this to us is, that's how upsets happen. You have a really talented team, but they're not together. They got some problems. If you're a really great team, maybe not as talented, but you're really working hard and you're preparing well. Again, you see the value of the preparation we talked about when, pressure comes when you're not prepared. When you're prepared, you have opportunity. Again, the main points with preparation. So here's an example of a personal commitment for the Polish national team in 2017. At our first team meeting, we do this. I've done this with all my teams. The first person that I saw do this was Jay Larinaga, who's top assistant for the Celtics. And I kind of got it from him and really have applied it ever since. And basically you write to your team, and this is to the players and staff. Any great accomplishment requires great commitment. Our combined efforts, and this time it was in Helsinki and Istanbul for Eurobasket 2017, which, again, you talk about making a personal commitment. And then at the bottom, the official commitment. I, in signing below, player writes his name, commit to being the best version of myself, bringing the very best effort every single day. And you guys maybe take a screenshot or whatever. You can kind of use that as a blueprint, as an example. But again, you want the players to, in your first meeting, do something physical, an act that they make a personal commitment, not just talking about it. I've signed something. I've signed a document with my signature. Here's the date. And I'm going to make a commitment to this team, to us, to be the best version of myself. Again, be the best version of yourself. This is one way that we try to reach players and get them to be a little bit more connected. So I've done this with all the teams since I was around the Celtics. And this is something that I really like in terms of holding players accountable and getting players to buy in. In terms of what Polish national team or Hamburg Towers would stress in terms of core values, again, team first, meaning players sacrifice, bring positive energy. We're all responsible for our energy. We want to play positive, bring the positive energy to the team and accept your roles. Again, communicate it early. Be together, make your teammates better, and be patient with each other. Again, toughness, physical, competitive, resilient, multiple efforts, give up your body, and intelligent. We want to be known as an intelligent team, focused, efficient, that knows ourselves and plays to our strengths. So these are things that you talk obviously in a training camp or an early meeting. Like if people watch Poland or Hamburg play, this is what we hope people come away saying about the team. Wow, they really play for each other. They're really smart. They're really tough, and I think that, these are some of the points that you try to emphasize and define for your team. The next thing we have here is also from my time around the Celtics. Doc Rivers, when he prepared the Celtics team that won the championship with KG, Paul Pierce, Rondo, and Ray Allen and these guys, he had this, I think it was 2012, he had a standards of excellence. So what I did is take the standards of excellence and kind of adjusted them towards the Polish national team. And again, we're using 2017 as the example. It was the one I had accessible. But you can kind of, again, take a screenshot here and look it through. Again, teamwork, professionalism, no personal agendas, professional respect and communication. Think of the now only, this team, our challenge, our season. Do it one way, the Polish way. Be an efficient team. Be a team of execution. Never have a bad practice. Again, the responsibility of players. Trust and no excuses. So again, as players sign a personal commitment, they also are given the standards of excellence. And again, we want to try to hold ourselves to these standards throughout the entire lifetime of our team. So that's from the beginning all the way through. We want to build these things into habits as we go. And again, another quote, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. So again, if you have high standards and high goals and you want to really achieve, then you better have the appropriate, work ethic and attitude and, you know, just commitment to match it. And I think this is, you know, what we've seen develop over the years with Poland and what we hope to continually develop here in Hamburg. Pat Riley, The Winner Within, an old book with lots of good things in it. Again, the team, stage setting, a place to act out the drama of your life. When the teams excel, we win. The best efforts combined with those of teammates grow into something greater and far more satisfying than anything we could do on ourselves. So again, emphasizing the importance of the value of being on a team and how winning a championship together is something really special because of all the experiences that you share. Again, going into the relationship part of things. So again, you know, we talk more quote, comment, the strength of the wolf is in the pack. The strength of the pack is in the wolf. The fact that, you know, a really strong team has strong individuals. But again, we talked about in the beginning, the relationship-based coaching with the connectedness of the players, another way to reinforce that and bring that to awareness for everybody. So we talk about, let me go back, what 1, 2, 4 here. We talk about a winning team. So a winning team, great effort springs naturally from a great attitude. Again, the importance of a team attitude, the importance of a team buy-in, a team commitment. And we asked, the question was asked before, you have a player who's talented, but he's giving you problems. How far do you go? You go as far as you know, he will let you go where he does not negatively impact the team. As soon as he starts to really negatively impact the team and prevents the team from maximizing its potential, that's where you're at a decision-making point. So a winning team establishes a team identity, creates winning habits, is efficient and balanced, makes the game easy, believes in itself, stays positive, handles success and setbacks productively, and makes no excuse. So again, when you talk about things that define a winning team, this is a good place to start. It's where we've started and how we've tried to shape the attitude that we believe will produce the winning results. The 10 key points for our team building process. Again, we want to try to establish clear roles and structure. Players respect each other's roles and sacrifice for each other. Again, create a positive team chemistry. Build these relationships that are so important to the coaching style. Create a positive learning environment, coaching the details, what and why, helping players feel like they're developing and learning and improving. Players and coaches be responsible and accountable. Again, not making excuses. Again, establish that work ethic, fun with discipline, enjoy the process, but really working. Player development on a daily basis, including skill workouts and video. Implementing new systems or style of play, meaning we're finding creative ways to put players in positions to be successful. We want to be prepared for every opponent, but focused on our own team, our own performance. You know, are you, 50-50, 50% on your team, 50 on the opponent, 70-30 on your team with the opponent? I think it's important that coaches prepare for your opponent, but again, keep the main focus on getting the most out of your team. And then again, the last point here, be team first and together at all times. In terms of team structure, you talk about the roles of the players on the floor, the position, the rotation of players coming off the bench, and what players on the team have responsibility. The structure of the team off the floor, also important. Who are your captains? Who are your leaders? And what is the chain of command from your coaching staff through the team? If there's a situation that the team needs to talk to the coaches about, who is communicating this, right? So you have to establish this structure and communication, not only the roles and rotation on the court, but also that structure of the team off the floor. Championship characteristics we try to build a team around in terms of having a defensive identity, being physical defensively and really owning the paint, not letting, people penetrate or get deep penetration. Star players, sometimes you have a star player, sometimes you don't. So again, but this is a characteristic of a championship team. I think really good teams have guys that can score in the half court and shooting and defending role players. So as you build your team, these are things that I think are, it's a good, let's say, base to work from as you build your roster. Moving on, we talk about winning on the biggest stage and beating the best opponents. I think when you think about everything we've talked to this point, you want your players to be mentally ready and physically prepared. You want to be your best and our best individually and as a team. You focus on the fundamental skills of the game: passing, catching, dribbling, finishing plays. Sometimes you're not going to hit shots, but again, creating good shots. Details in your team execution, offense, defense, executing at a high level, your game. And then you can out-team your opponents. Be the better team. Communicate better. Play more positive. Bring better energy. You know, all these little details, I think, make a difference when you're trying to beat really good teams on big stages. We talked earlier about breaking through, and I want to share this. You know, Ariel, you guys talked about the win against China and why I'm so proud about the Polish team and this win. You know, breaking through, the sum of your collective experiences. If you as a team and a group have had some adversity and some failure, I think it allows you to dig to a deeper level. It creates team toughness and gives you more of an emotional investment, which when you focus it and channel it correctly, you can get to that deeper level that you could never get to without that, adversity or failure or setback. So in Eurobasket 2015, we were kind of new kids on the block. We were playing in Montpellier, France. You see against Tony Parker, Boris Diaw, Rudy Gobert. I mean, nobody expected really anything from us, but we're down by 3 with the ball with a chance to tie. Coming out of a timeout, we did not execute. We ended up getting a Marcin Gortat corner 3. It wasn't the shot we wanted, but our poor execution, that's what we got, and we lost. So then in Eurobasket 2017, we were up by 9 points against Finland in Helsinki with 90 seconds to go. We basically gave them some opportunities. They capitalized. We fouled a 3-point shooter. We had some turnovers, and they cut the lead. We needed to inbound the ball on the sideline. We didn't do it. We turned it over. Lauri Markkanen got a breakaway dunk in double overtime. We lost. So these were the really, really difficult moments for our team to go through. But the third time in China, we felt like we were battle tested. We felt like we, were at a deeper place in terms of competitiveness and togetherness. So we were really ready for that challenge. And obviously, I'm so proud about the way the team played, the way we competed. As we said before, it was back and forth, and it looks like you're done. You don't have a chance to win, and you get a big steal and overtime win. But I really believe there's something to breaking through and building that character and team toughness within your team. Again, we talked about communicating and huddling. One of the easy ways that coaches can help their team out-team an opponent is by communicating in huddles. I think huddles, not only timeouts and whatever, but I think free throw huddles, every dead ball situation, define the communication, really keep it on task. Don't worry about the mistakes from 2 plays ago. Focus on the next play and have your point guard, your leader, really communicate, be on the same page with your coaches and what you want. I think this is a great way. If you watch your team consistently huddle better than your opponent, you have a great chance to out-team them. Again, we get into teamwork, and some of the things we emphasize: everyone, every play, every day, emphasizing the team. Be the best, team. The best teams play for each other, play for each other, not with each other. Jeff Van Gundy, a great quote there. Mm-hmm. And again, teamwork is the secret that allows common people, regular people, to achieve uncommon results. And again, we'll talk about synergy. It's something I really believe in, making your teammates better. But, teamwork starts with respect. Respecting each other, respecting the game, respecting opportunities. Again, the golden rule. I talk with my 2 young boys. Treat each other as you wish to treat them to treat you. Again, are you being respectful to other people? Listening. We talked about that in terms of being important, in terms of listening with your eyes and ears and look people in the eye when you're talking. Again, fundamental personal interaction stuff, very important to respect and communication. We try to really emphasize these things with our teams. Again, building a mentality, team first mentality. You've seen that several times through this presentation, focusing on win, what's important now. And again, to answer, the question about an opponent has a big run or you have a big run and the team relaxes, we really try to emphasize the next play mentality. Win the game one play at a time. Again, if you're going to be the best team, you want to maximize yourself, and that's doing your very best every single possession, no matter what the score. And in a slide or so earlier, we saw the championship characteristics. That next play mentality that we talk about is really important. And again, this was, again, from my time around the Celtics, this is something Brad Stevens really focuses a lot on. Win the game one play at a time, win the next play, and then mentally, are you on the court as a player thinking about the next play, ready to compete and win that possession, or are you thinking about the last play? Again, the last play, you're not playing positive. You're wasting your energy focusing on something that you can't change. So again, the competitive mentality, the next play mentality, I'm going to use all my energy and be present. I'm going to be ready to compete and win this next possession to help our team. Internal versus external thinking. Again, if we think internally, we think selfishly. We think about I, me, self-centered. If we think external, we think about us, we, we're other-centered, we're team-centered. And again, if we're going to be team first and think about teammates, we've got to be externally thinking, right? And we see here a great quote from Scottie Pippen. Sometimes a player's greatest challenge is coming to grips with his role on the team. Some guys struggle with that. But again, external thinking helps this. Think about your teammates. Think about the team. Think about the team goals. Put the team goals ahead of, your personal situation. And I think that's easier for some players and more difficult for other players. But I think it's something coaches have to be aware of, and you can try to help guys through it. Being team first, again, a great quote from Phil Jackson that we use. Good teams become great ones when the members trust each other enough to surrender the me for the we, right? And again, we know Phil Jackson from the Bulls, but his time coaching Shaq and Kobe, those guys didn't get along all the time. Two great talents, two great players, but they really, when they put the me aside and started playing for each other, that's where these championships really came out. So again, just some quotes to kind of set the tone and help players understand. What I like to talk about with our guys is synergy, making your teammates better. Again, quote from Magic Johnson to define it: the mark of a great basketball player is the ability to make your teammates better. He's not talking about scoring points or statistics. Are you able to make your teammates better? And that's a skill. And synergy, in terms of 1 + 1 is not 2. I like to joke with the guys, it's my IUP math from my college, IUP, Indiana, PA. 1 + 1 is 10, right? So this synergy really takes regular team, regular personnel, and when the guys really click and work together and everyone on the same page with that positive competitive mindset, that's where really great results happen. Again, the goal of every season, every team should be maximize it. And I think when you maximize your team, the team really should have great synergy. Now would be a good time to take some questions if anybody has some before we get into motivation.
Yes, we got a couple of questions. There's a question here from Todd Delgado. How do you see the way Coach Popovich's style of coaching? From the way we see his style, we clearly see him yelling, but he is successful at his coaching career.
We're going to get into, again, first, every coach has to be themselves. There's more than one way to be successful, and the most important thing in coaching is to be yourself. Find a way that works for you, number one. I think what Coach Popovich has done is fantastic. And, I loved the chance to coach against him in the World Cup. That was a wonderful moment in my coaching career. I have so much respect for him. And we have actually used the 80s Celtics, the Doc Rivers and Brad Stevens Celtics, the Warriors recently, and the Spurs as models for our ball movement. So I have great respect for Coach Popovich. Now, he obviously has great relationships with his players because the players allow him to coach them no matter what. Coach Popovich is a truth teller. Again, we say old school coaching. Don't listen to how the message is being said. Listen to what is being said. So all those great Spurs players loved Coach Popovich enough, believed in him enough that he was able to really get after them. And I think, again, the most important thing for the difference between coaching and criticism, old school guys understand the way coaching was. Coaches are going to yell at you, and you just take the yelling, understand it, don't take it personal, and listen to what the coach is saying. So, for me, I think that Coach Popovich is a legend. I think he's fantastic, and he coaches in his own way. And I think the key to that situation, as we'll see here in our next segment, motivation, is the relationship. The relationship he has with his players, they allow him to coach him that way, and they're mature enough not to take it as criticism. They take it as coaching and instruction. That's what I would say to Coach Popovich, who I think is fantastic.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you. Here's another one from our the president of our coaches commission. How do you balance giving confidence to a player and disciplining the player? So how do you balance it? Kind of related to the question.
Yeah, again, it's a really good question, and it has a lot to do with coaching, right? You have to, again, have a relationship with the player. You have to have a realistic perception of where the player is. And we'll also get into the player's self-perception a little bit later. But the point for me is, you're balancing all the time. You're reading all the time. You want to try to give the player confidence that he can do it. And maybe it won't come easy for him, but you encourage him to stick with it and keep trying and be persistent. But I think you also have to be able to be ready for a player tries it and does not have success, is not able to get it done. So that's another point in terms of the reverse psychology, where when a player fails, you're trying to push them and work with them to develop, to make those next steps. In terms of the discipline side of the question, again, a lot of it has to do, is a player buying into what you're doing? Is a player, receiving the coaching, the instruction? Is he listening? So I think that, again, a lot of this has to do with your individual relationship with the player. Everyone's different. And you're looking at, okay, how can this player make the next steps? And then are they responding to the direction and the coaching you're trying to give them? And I think all of these things will add into, okay, are we successful with helping this player develop, or are we not? It's easy for fans and management and people to say, oh, you had player A, player B, player C, and they didn't develop this year. Well, I'm here to tell you, all the players that have really made big steps playing for me, I always give the credit to the player, because how many times have we had players on our team where you hope they can make the next step, but whether it's immaturity or lack of a work ethic, or maybe they're not disciplined, they don't make the next step. Is that on the coach? Sometimes it is, if the coach is not making the effort to build a relationship, to work with the players, to create the structure. Okay, you can argue that. But you've always got to respect the individual players and their responsibility in making the next step. So I think that's a lot of information there about the players and trying to make the next step. I hope that can get you thinking.
Coach, I have a question. With over 25 years of coaching experience, what are the 5 qualities a basketball coach should have in order to be successful?
Teddy, that's a great question. For me, like we said, I think there's a lot of different ways to be successful. And I think the first thing should be a coach should be themselves, should be who they are. I think it's important that a coach is genuine, a coach is real, because players and people see through fake. I think it's important that a coach understands themselves and can deliver consistent personality, consistent emotion, and just be real. So I think that's where it starts. I think second, a coach needs to be organized. So I think that you need to really define a philosophy of what you believe in, and always work to improve it. Always work to get it better. Always work to tinker with it and add to it and learn and grow. So I think that would be the second. I think the third for me would be detailed. Like we saw earlier, coach the what and the why. And again, if you have a philosophy, players are going to ask you questions, right? There's a lot of different ways to play, a lot of different things to do. You should really be open to discussion, but always not only have a what are we doing, but a lot of times really inquisitive players will be like, hey, why are we doing this? And I think that you need to have the what and the why. And if you coach the what and the why, you know, maybe players don't agree with it all the time, but they're going to respect it because they're like, hey, this guy, he knows what he's doing. So I think the organization and then the being detailed. And then I would say the last two, Teddy, would be communication. I think if you can communicate, you can, you know, express your philosophy, you can coach the details that you want. I think you can, if you can communicate, you can get through the personal relationships, the full spectrum of relationship. You know, you're mad at a person, you're happy with a person, you need to have a hard conversation with a person. So I think communication is critical. And then the last part for coaching, I think, is toughness, because, you know, we all talk about all the successful things and successful experiences we've had. But, you know, one of the benefits that my dad helped me with, you know, because I grew up the son of a coach, I saw the times where it's not always easy. It's not always hard. There's not always fun. There's going to be difficult times. And I think if you love what you're doing and have a passion for it, it's going to help you get through those difficult times. So you've got to have that toughness to be persistent. There's going to be times in coaching where, you know, people don't want you to coach your team anymore. They don't want you anymore. So you've got to be tough enough and mature enough to, you know, move on and find what's next. And there's also times where you don't want to be in that situation anymore because of a relationship that's gone stale or whatever. So I think that toughness and ability to deal with adversity, if you're going to be in coaching and stay in coaching, is something that a lot of people don't talk about. But I think it's really, really important for people that want to make it a career or want to make it a life that you have to understand is a big part of it.
Okay.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Coach,
I
you
think
spent some time. Sorry, Coach, you spent some time with Coach Chuck Daly. Could you share some wisdom during the conversations that you have with Coach Daly?
So,
thank you.
You know, Teddy, Coach Daly is from Western Pennsylvania. He was born in Kane, Pennsylvania. He started his coaching career at Punxsutawney High School. And then after high school, he went into college, coached at several colleges, and then he went, you know, into the NBA with Philadelphia 76ers. And then obviously he's really well known for his time with the Pistons and the Dream Team. But when my dad was an assistant for Willis Reed with the Knicks, you know, they would be on the road. And Chuck Daly, obviously always dressing well, really classy. You know, my dad tells stories of them, you know, shopping for shoes in Atlanta at the old Omni Mall. So, you know, obviously Coach Daly had a relationship with my dad in coaching. And then as I came up from Western Pennsylvania, you know, my dad coaching in the Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference at Clarion. And then I played at IUP. Coach Daly played at Bloomsburg. When he was in coaching, and you know, he obviously knew my dad, and I started to express really interest in coaching and trying to learn from people. I went down to Orlando to spend some time and watch him when he was coaching the Magic prepare for, you know, a game against Allen Iverson and the Sixers. And I think this was maybe 1997, 1998. So I was down there and he was, you know, showing me all the facilities and talking a little bit and spending time, you know, and it just gave me so much self-confidence that a great coach like this was obviously after the Dream Team, would spend time with me and talk with me and answer my questions. You know, it was the Magic shoot around for this game. And I remember standing there, and a player I really liked, Mark Price, came over and talked to me for about 10 minutes. And then Coach Daly came over and talking. And I felt great after it. I had so much self-confidence. And, you know, so all of these little things, just the willingness to spend time, the willingness to answer questions, the willingness to make available an opportunity for a young coach, you know, I'll never forget. And when, you know, side notes to that, you know, obviously he coached for the Nets. Willis Reed was involved in the management. You know, Willis was a head coach where my dad was an assistant in New York, and then Creighton in Omaha. My brother played for Punxsutawney High School in 1992 for the state championship in Pennsylvania, and Chuck Daly and Mike Fratello came down and sat courtside. So these are some of the nice connections and wonderful memories we have in basketball. But Coach Daly is, you know, he's a guy that I've always looked up to. And I think the strength that he had was his, you know, he just people skills. He had great people skills. His, you know, his ability to communicate is something that I always looked up to. And he's a guy that I really am thankful I had the chance to spend some time around.
Thanks, Coach Mike.
Thanks, Coach. Just Coach, I know you've very good session so far, very great questions so far. I know you've got some handful of slides to get through. So in the spirit of time, you know, my recommendation is to just get through those slides so we can have a really more time for some Q&A from the people that are attending the session.
Excellent, Ben. Thank you. Thank you. So I'm really excited to talk about this motivation because, you know, as a coach, this is one of the things that I love. You know, I love the challenge to build a team up and build a player up to achieve, to excel. And again, the relationship aspect of it is really critical. It starts with building relationships. And when you can let players know you care about them, then they will allow you to coach them. And then you can really, you know, pull some strings, push some buttons to maximize potential. So we just talked about the whole question about Greg Popovich. Obviously, he's built the relationship, so the players allow him to coach him, and he can coach him in different ways to reach the player, to bring the best out of the player. So generally, the focus in motivation should be on building the relationships, in my opinion. It should be focused on what do we need to do? What buttons do we need to push? What strings do we need to pull to maximize this player's potential, to get the most out of this player? And with the team situation, we talk about, you've seen a lot of quotes in this presentation. We talk about stories. You know, nothing is better than a topic with some quotes to define it and a story to bring it to life, and then some meaningful information, right? So the motivation is something that I absolutely love in coaching. And again, you can see what it's set up in the relationship-based coaching setup, the positive coaching setup, to really, you know, get at each individual player you have. Now, my time around Doc Rivers, I respect so much as a leader of men. And we've seen him be a leader in many situations. The Boston Marathon bombing, when I was around the Celtics, Doc was fantastic in the Boston Strong stuff. And then when he went out to LA and he's with the Clippers and his whole Donald Sterling thing happened, Doc Rivers showed himself as a fantastic leader. So again, I've got utmost respect for Doc, for how he is as a coach, and you know, just being around him. He was another guy that spent a lot of time. But what I loved about Doc, listening to him pregame, listening to him practice and handle situations, he had a knack for finding the right words. And this is something that I've really tried my very best to add to my coaching game in terms of the motivation. Every team, pregame, postgame, practice, daily, you're reading the team. There's a certain point. If you find the right words, you can bring or, you know, accelerate an excellent performance out of the group. So we talk about the pep talk before the game. And, you know, I'm really thankful for that China game, you know, the way the result went and how the team played. And a lot of people in Poland made a big deal about the pregame pep talk. And I think in the preparation here, you know, for this clinic, it was put out there on one of the videos. You know, it's just a short couple minutes, but it found the right words for the Polish team. And I think what people have to understand about a pep talk and motivation is that's like the tip of the iceberg. But the heart of it all, what allows you to really motivate at that point, push those buttons, is the relationship. So again, as a coach, you got to talk about the high intensity of the message, the low intensity of the message. You know, you want to try to build up the physical, mental, emotional parts of the team. So in terms of motivating all aspects, and then you want to try to create an edge for your team. So this is kind of my mentality in terms of the pep talk now. So coaches understand, we will have a meeting at the hotel 2 hours before the game, and that's our X's and O's meeting. When the players arrive at the arena, it is nothing but pregame warm-up, individual warm-up first. Then the players come in, and at that 45-minute mark before the official 30-minute FIBA warm-up, this is all motivation. This is not, hey, you're guarding here, we want to run this play. It's not X's and O's. At that point, we feel like we're prepared and we're ready to go. So we are trying to really push those emotional buttons. And I think this was the best example is what happened with China. So finding the right words is something I think that is a fun part of coaching. Sometimes you'll deliver what you feel is a great message, and it sticks. Sometimes it doesn't stick. It doesn't resonate. So the key here is your target audience. The key here is reading your team and understanding your team. And that will give you a lot of feedback and understanding of where you are as a team and how you can manage the preparation for the next game and the few days ahead. So finding the right words is a big challenge. And again, it's a fun part of coaching, the motivational aspects. In terms of motivation specifically, this is kind of the grid that we look at. Motivation, you have 4 parts: the positive side, the negative side. Intrinsic comes from within, extrinsic from without. And again, it can be internal positive, external positive, internal negative, external negative. And again, we'll see on this next slide what we're aiming for. So again, we talked about positive motivation can be positive feedback or a reward. Negative motivation, negative words, criticism, fear, punishment. Intrinsic motivation, we say, coming from within, right? Extrinsic, external source. A reward is a positive motivator, and it is extrinsic. So a winning bonus in terms of money, or, you know, some sort of recognition, you know, so that would be the reward. The punishment, negative, can be extrinsic. You know, you lose the game, you got to run sprints, right? You lose the game, some sort of external motivation, right? The target area that we shoot for is positive intrinsic motivation. So when you build the relationship with your players and you're trying to find those right words, you're trying to get the players to buy in and enjoy the process and be so committed and invested to the process that it comes from within. And if you can get your team to that point, your team is going to have a great chance to be successful, right? So there's a lot of factors going on around it that will impact it. But if at the heart of it, you can be positive and intrinsically motivated because the players want to do it for themselves. They want to do it for each other. This is the target area and kind of what I aim to push the right buttons and find the right words. Now, again, we saw before the self-fulfilling prophecy. The keys here, again, build the relationships, communicate positively, be aware of verbal and nonverbal communication. Again, we had the question and the clarification from Teddy earlier. The coach believes in the player feels valued, plays with confidence, success comes, the player believes in themselves, and that reinforces the original belief. And then the vicious circle, when the coach demonstrates behavior or shows behavior that he does not believe in the player feels it, plays without confidence, does not have success, doubts themselves, and that also reinforces the original belief, okay? So again, you talk about motivation. Like another great quote, Muhammad Ali, champions are not made in the gym. They're made from something they have deep inside, a desire, a dream, a vision, comes from within. They have the skill and the will, but the will must be stronger than the skill. So that's, again, goes to show you that, you know, you can have a really talented player, a talented person, or a less talented person. And if the player has a big heart and great will and desire, they can make great things happen. The example for us with Poland, I think not a lot of people thought we would do much in the World Cup. And the guys really came together with that will, with that desire, that intrinsic motivation, that heart, and really achieved. So we talk a lot about team, but there's also a big part of individual performance. And this is one of the things I love about the New England Patriots coach, Bill Belichick, who's a legendary NFL football coach in America. You know, everybody says there's no I in team, but he added, there's an I in win, and it stands for individual performance. So the point here is you have to play as a team to win. And we want to be unselfish, but the best players can really separate and be difference makers in the game and lead your team to a win. So those players, getting your really best guys ready to play and be those difference makers and have that responsibility and be their best when it matters the most, that can really separate you and take it to the next level. So some points here, I'll just go quickly through it. 4 individual steps to the team success. Again, protect the team. Again, no matter what happens, you're looking out for your teammates and your team. You're trying to eliminate the negative attitudes, these type things. So again, just be really positive and protect the team. Sharpen your edge, you know, so again, have a vision for what the team excellence should be and individual excellence, and always stay hungry, work with enthusiasm. Compete with everything you have, intensity, toughness, all 5 players. And you see here, Poland plays harder than opponents. The intensity and physicality imposes will over the opponent. And remember, the aggressive team wins. And then finish with focus. We talked about pressure comes when you're not prepared. When you're prepared, you have opportunity. Play with more precision under pressure. The focus is on the process of winning. And again, you know, where others feel pressure and sink, the mentality for our team, we want to rise to the top. So these are things that our guys talked about along those lines, taking care of our house. And we say, eliminate distractions before distractions eliminate you. So you read a problem in your team. Can you eliminate it? Can you work it out? Or do you need to make that strong team first decision and move on? Right? We all run through adversity. We all run through distractions. We got to try to take care of our own house. Again, the whole point, protect your basketball family, get your house in order. Again, basketball wise, to win, eliminate losing, fundamental stuff, defend, protect the rim, defend without fouling, contest all shots. Again, just things to emphasize defensively. Again, take care of the ball, teamwork for good shots, make free throws, and then late game execution. Make your free throws, simple plays at our speed, precise under pressure, defensive discipline, executing the game plan. Again, defend without fouling, rebounding. Play smart in time and score situations, and then again, play to win. Be aggressive, focus on winning that next play. Earlier, we talked shortly about goals. These are the goals that we try to set for our team and try to work with. Again, dream goals. For Poland in the qualification, it was go to the, qualify for the World Cup. For the Towers, it was Aufstieg, move up into the Bundesliga. Long-term goals, again, try to chart your path step by step how to get there. Short-term goals, week by week, day by day. You can help players, with their development by giving them practice goals. Hey, we want you to try to play off the catch and really focus on this coaching point in practice. Basically, we want you to, look for these situations in pick and roll plays. Whatever your team needs, you can give players daily goals to work at to try to bring out more attention and be productive in practice. Game goals, we've got several, game goals we work on defensively in particular. For example, holding an opposing team, under 42% shooting from the field, under 33% from three, rebounding percentages, energy plays in terms of steals and blocks and things like this. So we try to chart those. So that would be game goals and goals within the game. A goal within the game, for example, hey, 3 stops in a row. We want to get these first 3 stops of this quarter and make a run. Hey, let's cut the lead under 10 by the start of the fourth quarter, whatever the circumstances would be. Again, so I think it's important to focus the team and give the team goals in that format. Let me go back one more. For leadership, quickly, when we talk about teams and structure, it's important that your team has leadership. And again, the quote here, on bad teams, no one leads. On good teams, coaches lead. And on great teams, players lead. And it's always my goal to turn the team over to the players. Again, we create the structure, we create the setup, but we want to create an environment where the players are connected and invested and really together, where they have the structure, the captain, the let's say chain of command, so that you can turn it over to the players. The players will motivate, police, and push each other. And I think that's when you have a team that's in a great place. And this was clearly the place where our team in Poland was. Players, you turn it over to them, have them make good decisions for the whole group. And I think that's where things go. Leadership is critical, so we all search for great leaders within our teams. The way we try to emphasize it and develop it, again, at our first meeting, we give these guys leadership tips. This is from Jeff Jansen from the Jansen Sports Leadership Center. Again, we just copied it, and this might be a good screenshot for coaches. Little things like be the hardest worker at practice, be a spark of energy, enthusiasm, model mental toughness, connect with a teammate, compliment a teammate, challenge a teammate, support a teammate, constructively confront negativity, pessimism, laziness today, build and bond your team, check in with a coach, remind your team of, how the hard work today leads to tomorrow's dreams, and represent yourself with class and pride. Just basic information, basic things we try to put out there and help players have an avenue to impact their team. and demonstrate leadership. You know, it doesn't have to be the captain that's being a leader. You know, sometimes we have guys that demonstrate leadership and they're not captains, but we all can have that responsibility to put our team in a better position, you know, throughout the whole process and lifetime of the team. As we move forward, we talk about things that we emphasize in a professional. A pro is prepared, he's coachable, consistent, honest, and respectful. And you see over here, you know, plays are not as important as players, and, you know, players are not as important as teammates. The late, great coach Don Meyer, just really emphasizing the people aspect of it. Consistency is important, you know, to work with people and show up every single day. For players to have a consistent attitude, to have a consistent energy level, give consistent effort, avoid emotional roller coasters of getting too high or too low after good plays, bad plays, good, you know, victory or loss. And you try to create routines to be consistent. So I think that consistency is really, really important, you know, emotionally and collectively. And again, we talked in the beginning about be the best version of yourself. You know, for coaches, allow the players and staff members to be space to be who they are, and then encourage people to be who they are. People are at their best when they're themselves. So we want people to be the best version of themselves and accept who they are as themselves and help them continually try to get better day by day. And then empower people to be the best version of themselves. Do little things to help them get there and point them along that way. When you maximize the potential of the player, that leads to the maximizing potential of the team, and that's where you're going to be very successful. As we move forward here, we look at the 4 types of players, and we talked about this before, you know, the attitude and talent. You know, if you break it down into 4 boxes, you have on the positive side, positive attitude and positive talent, and that's the box we want most players to be in. That's where you have a player who's talented enough to really help your team win, and he has a really good attitude. If you have a lot of guys like that, you're going to be successful. You can also have guys that are positive attitude and not talented. So they can be team guys. And, you know, these are guys that you should respect and guys that you should try to help and care about them in a relationship as much as you care about the guys that are making the difference on the floor, right? It's a team. Everybody's important. Everybody's personality adds into the character and life of that team. And then on the bottom side, you've got negative attitude and positive talent. And this is the one where it's pretty complex, right? Most of the time, you're not going to have a negative attitude and negative talent guy. You get this guy out of here. We're moving off of him. We're trading him. We're releasing him. You know, you don't want to spend 10 hours or 10 hours a day, 10 months. I'm sorry, you don't want to spend 10 months a year with a guy that's giving you problems and not helping your team. But the guy with a negative attitude and positive talent can help your team. What you have to, again, balance is his positive impact with his talent and his negative impact with his attitude on the team. At some point, if it gets too much, you've always got to put the team first, and you'll always be better off putting the team first in the long run. Again, we move forward with player self-perception. Again, it can be positive or negative. You have to kind of have a relationship with the players to understand how they look at themselves. You can believe in yourself or not, and whatever it is, if you do believe in yourself or you don't believe in yourself, whichever it is, you're right. So, again, players can play with confidence or play with no confidence, okay? But the point is how a player perceives himself, how a player looks at himself is really important. Again, to bring the best out of the player, to help the player play positive and use their emotion, their energy in the right way, it's important to help them have a positive, realistic self-perception. Is the self-perception accurate? Now, we all overestimate ourselves to some extent. Most of the time we overestimate ourselves, and that's an okay thing. It's a healthy thing because it means you believe in yourself and you've got some self-confidence. The interesting players are the guys that are unrealistic and they don't believe in themselves, right? Those are the guys that you kind of look at and you support and you give every reason for them to really believe in themselves, but for some reason they don't. And that's a real challenging point in terms of sports psychology, in terms of competition, trying to help players get from that negative side where they don't believe in themselves to where they do. Again, the best way to do that, in my opinion, give them a small role, small responsibility, and help them have success in that role. And then gradually build it little by little, step by step, where they can slowly gain the confidence from having success. So this is maybe more of a long-term prospect with self-perception. Now we talk about good players and we also have bad players, dealing with problems in a team and problem players. And one of my examples of this is Daniel Orton, who I believe played in the Philippines, and I think he was kicked out of the league. But I had the opportunity to coach Daniel in the D League. And again, he was a very, very difficult player, challenging player because of a lot of non-basketball issues. It was a lot of, psychological issues that at that time I would have hoped that he would have stopped playing basketball and got himself right personally before he continued the challenges of his career. But this was back, 2013, 2014. So that's a while ago. Again, the challenge for a coach is when dealing with a problem player, what's best for the team? You can always try to be productive, but you can't be productive sometimes with issues or attitude or problems. But the goal for a coach is always move forward. There can be a conflict, there can be a problem, a disagreement, a fight. You've got to move forward. You got to find a way to push the team forward. And remember, you can't save everyone, right? I may be guilty of a guy at my time, trying to really help Daniel and try to help him get himself together. But at some point, if your efforts to try to save someone and help someone are detrimental to the team, then it's better for you to move on and put the team first. The D League, now the G League, players are there for a reason. It's a very psychology heavy league because it's a lot of mental aspects with the players and their competition. So this was a very good experience for those 2 years coaching and working with those type of players. There are some guys that will sabotage themselves and their opportunities. Some guys will sabotage their team. Obviously, you identify that, you move off it quickly. Sometimes their players will have a specific problem that you can help them with. One of the things in Hamburg I'm really proud of, we had a player that really struggled to organize himself and, always late for practice and making problems. Wasn't a bad guy, but we had a collective team effort all the way through the organization. We created a scenario where this guy could help us. He helped us win our league and move up, and that was like his most productive season. So you can have a specific problem, and with teamwork, you can help people. Maybe players have problems because of entitlement. Again, little points, little players acting out or lack of discipline, fine lists, obviously the traditional stuff. Negative external motivation can help. So again, we have a great plan. We have a great idea of positive coaching. We want to create that scenario. Not everyone's going to buy in, right? And you've got to recognize the people that don't buy in, and you have to understand, I'm going to protect our culture, and I'm going to get the people who are not buying in out. We're going to move off of those guys because they're not buying into the way we want to do things. We're going to build our team, and again, the team will always be the strength, and you always got to do what's best for the team.
Just a quick question, Coach, from Drew Joyce of Cleveland State University. How have you developed over the career? Is there anything different, anything that Mike Taylor now would have said or done differently in his early career?
I need a point guard like Drew Joyce out there. That's what I need, Drew. No, Drew is one of the best. He had a fantastic playing career in Europe, and he was at one point the all-time assist leader in the Bundesliga. I loved coaching Drew in Ulm for 2 years, I believe. He led us to our best season there as a point guard, and now he's coaching at Cleveland State and doing a great job. He's going to be a fantastic coach. But, Drew, for me, I think it's the constant evolution of your coaching philosophy and always trying to get better. One of the things I love after the season is evaluating what we've done well, what I've done well, and what we need to do better. And I think you constantly learn, and if you're open and honest with yourself, you can really make big steps. So for example, when Drew played for me in Ulm, I was known as a very good players coach and creative offensively, but Drew will be the first to tell you defensively, there's a lot of different systems, and Drew would help me with different types of thoughts, different types of ideas, little details, because he's been so well coached in his career. When I went around the Celtics and Doc Rivers and his coaching staff and Brad Stevens, I made it a priority. I'm going to work on my game. I'm going to work on myself, and I'm going to get better defensively. So I spent a lot of time around the coaches there and really tried to improve and upgrade myself. And what we see now is not only a really creative offensive system, but a really solid fundamental quality defensive system that has helped Poland and Hamburg. So, I think you're always trying to grow, always trying to develop, and always trying to improve. And again, it's just like be the best version of yourself every single day. Try to get better, try to improve. So I think, naturally, year by year from those Ulm years, you always try to improve and try to get better. And I think that would be the one thing I would encourage young coaches to do. We talk about knowing yourself as a coach, and then defining your philosophy, how you think the game should be played, and then relentlessly trying to get better, finding a way to get better, being open, don't think you know it all, and always trying to improve and learn and grow. Now, that doesn't mean you go and take everything that somebody throws out there. I mean, you're at the point where you pick and choose and add certain things. For example, yesterday's or Friday's talk from Will Voigt, the peel switch. This is fantastic, thoughtful, modern basketball. So you look at what Coach Voigt is doing, you say to yourself, hey, it makes sense that we're going to limit ourselves or make ourselves more efficient with fewer rotations. So then you start to look at, okay, what am I doing defensively? How can we work these things in? I think this is an example of picking and choosing, knowing your system and how I want to improve and grow. And when you listen to other great coaches like Will Voigt, like Ryan Pannone, like Aaron Fern, there's always great little nuggets that you can add and to help yourself get better.
Thank you so much. So let's wrap it up with I think you got 5 more slides and we got 5 more minutes.
Okay.
Coach, I know we can go on forever.
Ariel, no problem. I'll be quick.
I hope we can have a part 2.
We can always have a part 2. So
all right.
The expectations are like minimum standards, and these have not changed for me. Minimum standards: work hard every day, be coachable every day, and be a good teammate every day. That's the minimum standards, and whatever those things mean, whatever you need to do in communication and work ethic, these things, 3 expectations that I expect from guys every single day. We try to define things for Poland and Hamburg in terms of what concentration is, because we will have a lot of walkthroughs. We will have a lot of detail. The system we try to run, we try to be an intelligent team and run a lot of stuff. So we talk about concentration. We talk about focus, what it means to be physical. When we talk about energy, what does that mean? Be an energy giver, not an energy taker in terms of being a team guy. Intensity, discipline, maturity. Again, maturity, fun with discipline. And again, I go back to Bob Knight, who I love, different coaching style. Discipline is doing what has to be done, when it has to be done, as well as it has to be done, as well as it can be done, and doing it that way all the time. So we try to, clarify these things for the guys so they understand, okay, this is what this guy's talking about. Preparation, we'll go through quickly here. Readiness, prepare, the different ways you prepare physically for the game. Make sure the team is emotionally ready in terms of finding the right words, building that relationship and working off of it. Building up to the game. If you have a game on Saturday and you got 3 or 4 days, you want to build the team up, get them emotionally ready to go and compete. I think preparation really helps when you create routines, not only individual routines for the players, pre-practice, for example, post-practice, for example. That's professionalism from the guys, but also routines in terms of practice. How do we practice? How do we operate? Creating that environmental comfort here, building those habits, and helping guys enjoy the process. I think these are things in terms of preparation that go hand in hand with what we try to do. The types of game preparation that are important to me: team preparation, you talk about team defense, team offense, and how your individual players fit into the game plan. Individual preparation, so you talk about the individual, he's thinking about his matchup defensively or how he can score offensively, understanding how he's going to attack and operate within the coach's system, within the team's system. Physical preparation, you see here, Dominik Narojczuk, he's been outstanding in Poland. He's fantastic in terms of a conditioning coach, sets the tempo, really, sets a great environment and focus for the guys. They benefit from being around him. Same thing Melvin Veer in Hamburg. So those conditioning coach roles are really important. Mental preparation, again, individual players, how they mentally get ready to play, focus and concentration, and then emotional preparation, both for the players and the team. And again, as we say, we want to try to build up the energy. Again, we want guys to understand and have maturity, always work with a purpose, work to improve. You're either getting better or getting worse. No one is ever staying the same. So if you're going to be caught, let's say you've had some success and, you say, hey, I'm good. I'm satisfied. You're eventually going to have to reach that point where you restart yourself and start working again, because you're either getting better, you're getting worse. So we want guys to work with that purpose to always improve. And the last slide here before the question and answer stuff is, there's no substitute for hard work. Again, classic picture, Larry Bird in the gym, working at the time, one of the best players in the world, constantly working, constantly refining his craft, loving the process of it. So here we have, a question and answers. I don't know how much time we have. If there's any out there, I'm happy to spend as much time as necessary.
Coach, they want a copy of the presentation, if you will allow.
Of course.
Okay.
I can forward you. Well, you guys have the presentation, right?
Yes,
So,
I can forward it to whoever
yes.
requests, so they can email.
Yeah, that's no problem. No
Thank
problem.
you so much. To wrap it up, Ben, we have 2 minutes. I know it's tough, but definitely, Coach, if you have time for a second session, maybe we will just have all Q&A for an hour with you.
I'm happy to do it. The one thing we have right now is time, right?
Yes. But definitely, all of what you've discussed is why you guys won. And I'm a fan. I was a fan when you beat China that game, and always been a fan.
So
I see some questions here. I think you guys can see.
no, just to wrap it all up. Coach, we can go through all night on this, and this is great stuff. It's even better than The Last Dance, if you ask me. So it's really, really good. Thank you so much for sharing what I like to call the milestones and mistakes of your career. And this is not goodbye. This is see you later, because basketball is a small world, and we'll definitely be in touch and tapping your brain. And I'm sure we'll all be tapping each other's network and mindsets and contacts. So thank you very much for a great session, and we look forward to catching up with you on the next one, and more sessions in the future. Thank you, Coach Ariel.
Thank you very
and his
much.
team for putting this
Yes,
together.
I will forward the other questions that weren't answered to Coach and give him some homework.
I'm happy to do it. Really, I'm very, very thankful for you guys thinking about me. And, I appreciate the preparation from Ariel and Teddy and Ben. Thank you for kind of monitoring everything and making sure we moved in the right direction today.
Thank you so much,
Thanks, Coach
Coach.
Frank. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys. Thank you, everyone.
So just a quick break, everyone. I know Coach Ryan will have his presentation starting at 8. It's already 8 o'clock, but we'll be in that Zoom meeting soon. So have a quick dinner, guys, so you can have your dinner while Coach Panon is having his presentation. You can't miss his 3-2 pick and roll motion offense. It's definitely a must watch. So again, see you again, guys, and stay safe. Thank you very much, Coach, again.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.
Bye.
Thanks, Coach.